Hey everybody, welcome to Garden for Cheap with me, Rachel. And I was tagged in the collaboration by the Broussard Homestead on 10 Questions for All Homesteaders. And it was started by Copper Kettle Farms. And I'll have all their links in the description. Copper Kettle Farms actually started this collaboration. I've got a playlist going. And let's get to it. So, the first one is, what got you started on the homestead? And I have a little notebook here, because I can't do this from memory. Okay, what got you started got you into homesteading? There was several different factors, but my great-grandfather was a farmer. My grandmother had a farm, or a garden. And, I didn't pay attention like I should have. I mean, I snapped beans, and I had my grandma did canning, water bath, and pressure canning, but I didn't pay attention like I should, and I don't know, it seemed like the 70s and 80s and 90s, people were getting away from that. Everything became commercialized. You could buy your food, and fast food came around, and it was kind of like it was becoming a lost art, so to speak. And in 2010, my marriage ended. 2013, my health deteriorated rapidly. And in those first few years, between 2010 and 2014, I just realized how bad things have gotten commercialized, how much things cost, how bad our food was getting, not knowing what was in it, where it was coming from, just the cost of living, especially being a single parent with failing health. I started, wanting something more, something different. It shouldn't be that difficult as what I thought. And I was right, in a way. I mean, I started going onto YouTube and watching Doug and Stacy, Deep South Homestead, J0, In My Gardener, and there's a few others, that have been here on YouTube a while and have extensive channels. And I was researching, how to grow your own food, how to raise your own livestock. I even researched, cob homes, earthship homes, tiny homes, because I just knew there had to be a better way. And I never really considered myself a homesteader. I didn't even really know that title until I guess last year, or the beginning of this year, the end of last year, beginning of this year. And I just so happened to jump into Roots and Refuge Live and started talking to people. And time out, the dog's chewing up something. That she pulled out of the trash, evidently. But sorry about that. But I know this answer is really long, and the rest of them will be shorter, I promise. But I think it was the Styrers who first said hello to me in Roots and Refuge Live. And then Roots and Refuge and VW Farms was planning the shindig, and I went to that shindig. But the night before, I went to Roots and Refuge house, and I got to meet two family homestead, Daryl and Sherry, and Brett and Amy from Broussard Homestead, and the Stivers were there, and in Andy's homestead. It just reap what you sow, and there was so many that I met that night. But I was talking to Daryl from Two Family and Brett from Broussard, and I never really considered myself a homesteader. And Daryl asked me that question, well, what do you think a homesteader is? Somebody who has chickens? And that's why I have the metal rooster. on my arbor because my neighbor got it when I told her the story. But they're like, no, that's part of it, yes, but no. He goes, you do have livestock, you have dogs, you have snakes, you have fish. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not the same. And my dream is to have, chickens and goats and rabbits and pigs and maybe even a couple of cows. We'll see. But I guess the answer to the question really is, I knew there was a better way of making a living and surviving, I guess, and knowing where my food came from. And when I grew that first tomato and tasted it, it was like, I don't know, a light bulb went off. Like, hey, this does not taste like what I buy at the store. This is so much better. And as Jessie from Roots and Refuge is saying, store-bought vegetables taste like disappointment. She's right, they do. But that's what got me into homesteading. A couple things happened where I wanted to make a better life for myself, and then I got into it and did a little research and realized how much healthier it was and how better the food tasted. I started growing vegetables that I normally didn't like and realized that I did like them. It was just, when you grow it yourself, it tastes so much better. So, man, that was a long answer for that question, so I apologize, but yeah. 2, what is something you want to add to your homestead in 2020? Since I can have chickens if I get a permit, but the fines are so steep that I don't want to do that. So livestock really isn't an option right now. So I'd have to say more garden beds. I have 5 garden beds in a spiral right now. I have over 250 square feet of growing space, plus all my containers. But it seems like you can never have enough garden beds or enough gardening space. So I would like to add more. Also, drip irrigation. That's like number 1 on my list for January, is to work on drip irrigation to the water bed, or to the garden beds. I will end up adding a trellis and a couple handy panels to the arbor, but the main thing will be irrigation and more beds. Number 3, what is the most difficult lesson you've learned while homesteading? Things die, regardless if it's your livestock, your pets, or your crops. I think for me here lately, that's been the most heartbreaking, is putting in all that work, because I start almost all my plants, like 95% of my plants, from seed. And you plant these little seed and you get this little seedling, and getting them acclimated to the outside temperature is the hardest for me usually. If I can get it past that point without killing them, then I get them transplanted into the garden beds, and then the pests come, or disease, or too much rain, not enough rain, 110 degree stretches, that just wreak havoc on my garden, and having, almost a whole crop wiped out. That sometimes, no matter what you do, things are going to die, whether it's plants or livestock. Sometimes it's just out of your control. Number 4, what is your favorite chore on the homestead? Well, it's not weeding. It's really not watering. But I do love to go out and inspect the garden. First thing in the morning, get up, grab whatever beverage I'm drinking that day, whether it's Dr. Pepper, tea, or coffee, and walk out to the garden and just look at the peppers and the tomatoes and the zucchini and the beans or whatever, just being in the garden. And I'll water, and I usually don't have to weed too much. Knock on wood. I don't get too many weeds because I use a lot of mulch in my garden beds. But, I don't know. I guess it would just being in the garden and inspecting everything, making sure, you know, the soil's moist and there's no hornworms on the plants or whatever. Let's see. Number 5. What is your favorite thing to grow? Peppers. The varieties. Oh, I didn't even realize there were so many varieties of each vegetable until this past year. So I'd have to say peppers. And next year I'm growing a ton of peppers. But they're all going to be different. Sweet apple peppers, pimento peppers, paprika peppers, banana peppers are my all-time favorite. The habanada and the natapinos, the non-hot versions. I don't care for hot peppers too much. I do have cayenne peppers I grow to make my cayenne pepper and chili pepper and my red pepper flakes. But for the most part, I don't grow like, you know, those ghost peppers or anything. But I'd have to say peppers. 6. What do you love the most about the homesteading community? We're family. Whether you have 1,000 acres or a half acre or an apartment or a trailer, the fact that, you know, that you grow something, you preserve your food, you dehydrate, you want to do better, you belong. You know, it's like a family unit. And I guess one of the biggest things is I no longer feel alone. Because for the first few years of this homesteading journey of mine, I didn't realize there were so many people out there that felt the same way that I did, that wanted their own land and to grow their own food and raise their own meat and go back to the way things used to be done. And when I first got into this community and went to the shindig and then to the bash and seen how many people like me that were out there, it was just, I didn't feel alone anymore. So that is one of the favorite things of this community. Then we help each other. You learn from each other. It's just amazing. This group of people just, I don't know. There's no words. You just touches me in the feels, man. Touches me in the feels. What is your favorite meal to make? That one's kind of tough because I like to cook so much. I guess I would have to say barbecue. I usually make some ribs and a pork shoulder, and then potato salad and deviled eggs and coleslaw, and sometimes chicken and rice, you know, and I make those on the grill, the rice included. I just love to have food outside on the grill. It just tastes so much better to me. But I have a few other favorites like chicken and dumplings and chili, and I can cook. I got the round gut to prove it. But I've always loved to cook. I mean, I made my first meal when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I made cheeseburgers. So, I know how to cook. Number 8. What is your favorite holiday? This one's going to surprise some people. My favorite holiday is 4th of July. Beer, barbecue, fireworks. And it's also my birthday month. So, I celebrate the whole month of July. It's summer. You're growing stuff. So, anything about July I usually love. But, country independence, you know. But 4th of July has just always had a special place in my heart, because I always loved shooting fireworks and eating barbecue and spending time with the family, and then 10 days later, I have a birthday. So I got gifts. So, I don't know. 4th of July has always been my favorite. 9. Is your homestead where you intend to settle permanently, or are you looking to start over elsewhere? If I could have livestock here, I'd want to stay here. But since I'm in the city limits and can't, then no. I want to get a different piece of land, and so I can have Nigerian dwarf goats and a mess of chickens and rabbits. Definitely want rabbits, just for the manure. Oh, well, the meat too, but this is not my favorite homestead. 10. What homesteaders do you follow and enjoy learning from? All of them. I watch more than you could ever think. I may not always comment. I do occasionally comment. I won't say I'll never comment. I do. But I don't comment nearly enough. But I watch so many channels. And it goes in phases on what I want to learn or what I'm interested in that day. Or I try to hit all the ones that get posted that day first. But usually there's always something that I'm wanting to look into. But I watch everybody from the Broussards, Arms Family Homestead, Roots and Refuge, VW Farms, The Naked Gardener, my fellow Texan, you know. The list is huge. One of my favorites is Bobblehead, Jeff in Arkansas. I loved meeting him in at the shindig. But Beach Family Homestead, I watch so many. I'd be here all day answering that question. Seriously. That list is a mile long. J000. There's a few outdoor channels I watch as well. And I don't just watch the homesteading community. I watch, when it comes to YouTube videos, I watch just about everything in my wheelhouse or whatever interests me. I don't really watch TV. I only watch NCIS Tuesday night, and I record it, so most of the time I'm either making videos, gardening, or watching YouTube. And if I'm watching YouTube, I am flipping through, and I watch so many channels it's not even funny. I don't even want to look at how many hours I spend a day on YouTube. But yeah, it's a lot. But anyhow, I have to tag 3 folks for this challenge. I tag Misty from Mama Z's Texas Kitchen. I tag Incense Shop, Henry. And that leaves me a 3rd. And I did email a couple folks, but I didn't get a response. So, if you're watching this video and you're a homesteader, I tag you. I don't have to mention your name. You know who you are. You're looking right at me. I tag you. But anyway, that's my 10 questions. Y'all have a great day. God bless. Peace.